Welcome! I just want to firstly start with Happy New Year! In this video, this is going to be an awesome review on the Canon M100 and why I think that you should still get this awesome camera going into 2022 and why this camera will bring you absolute value. I'm Dave from TVR Creators and I make weekly content on cameras and lighting and audio and so much more to do with content creation. If that sounds like value to you, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button and share this video with family and friends. So without much further ado, let's crack on with the live stream. Boom! So anyway, why should you get the Canon M100? Why is this camera absolutely awesome? I love this camera for many reasons. Let's just sit back and explain to you why I love this camera. So it's a mirrorless camera, for those of you that don't know. It's light, it's agile, it's fantastic at taking photos with its very high definition sensor, which is great. Now, what I love about this camera, for many of you in the world, I like taking selfies with our phones. You can flip the screen up, which is fantastic for taking selfies and being all like this. And it's really good for taking selfies. Also, that adds to the question that some of you may have as a creator or filmmaker. Is it worth getting for that? Now, I will talk about that a bit later on, but you know, the straight answer is yes. So if you want to film yourself for whatever reason, if it's for YouTube or if you're blogging and stuff like that, I would say what I love about this camera is because it does have the flip screen that turns very easily towards you, you're then able to film yourself, see what you're filming, make sure you're in shot, and you haven't got that annoyance of, you know, maybe taking a random bit of video to make sure you're in shot. You could just go straight away, like I guess you would with your phone. And you're probably thinking, why should I get this over my phone? I'll tell you why. I will tell you why. It's because basically, I don't know, I personally love having an object, a piece of gear that's separate from my phone. When you're not getting pestered by social and all this sort of jazz, it's really nice to have a separate bit of gear, you know, that you can talk to, film with, take photos with. Now, if you just want a camera for taking photos, this is an absolutely fantastic camera. And, you know, if you haven't got the money to buy it new, you can get it secondhand off eBay for about $250. So I guess that would be what, about $300 roughly, maybe a bit under that. I've actually found it today, actually just over £200, which I think is a cracking deal. The only little bit of advice I would give for those of you that don't know is just make sure that the seller that you're buying it from has a very good record. That's personally my massive power tip for you guys. Just make sure that, you know, it's at least sort of 98% and they've got thousands of sales. Just because, you know, you don't want to buy rubbish or end up with a brick in a box. You know, that's very important. Now, if you want to buy this off Amazon, I would highly recommend checking up on there. As the date of this video, it's not being sold brand new, but I have seen it from time to time appear for sort of $300-400, maybe a bit more. Now, this is actually technically the older brother of what's now the M200, and I personally think that's a great camera. If you want the latest thing, go and check that out. I believe there is a link to that in the description, and that is pretty much a similar camera, just has a few more features and that sort of jazz, but you are looking at over £500 or dollars if you want that camera. When I personally, if you're looking for, you know, something that's extra special in the sense of photography or video, then I would then look over to something like the M50. But if you want a first star camera for photography or video, personally, I would definitely look at the Canon M100. Now, what else do I like about this camera? It's easy, has easy interchangeable lenses. You can take off the lens and so, there you go. And it does come with the 15-45 kit lens. That's if you buy it new, obviously. If you're buying it second hand, just look out in the description. The easy way to put it on is just find two little dots, just flip them together. He says, as he's on live TV, and it just turns and it's this very satisfying click. Let's just do that next to the microphone because that's pretty awesome. Hey, welcome to the green room, chap. Brad's in the green room. Listen to that, really satisfying. Now, all filmmakers and photographers will appreciate this noise. Wait for it. Oh, yes. There was something massively satisfying about the click of putting on a lens. And what's cool about that, this future-proofs this camera. So you can change the lens, you can buy a better lens down the road, maybe a more expensive lens. You can maybe, something that I keep debating about doing, I've been debating about it for about a year now, is buying an adapter so I can put my old 300mm onto either this camera or another camera. And that's really cool about this. So that it future-proofs this, it makes it more diverse. It means you can do different things with it. You know, if you just want a 24mm lens later down the road for taking very specific cameras, if you're into black and white photography, if you want to, you know, take pictures of wildlife, you might want to get a bit bigger lens down the road, you can do that with this camera. It takes absolutely brilliant pictures. I've been Dumbledore the megapixel, but I believe it's like 24 megapixel, way more than you'll ever need. And what I like about this is very simple to use. So I don't know if you can see that on the camera. Sorry if my microphone's going weird, but it has a little very basic changeable settings. So you can easily go to photography, automatic, or video, which is really simple. It just have a little flash that just pops up at the top, but I always feel like I'm going to break it, so I'm not going to do that. But it just pops up at the top, which is really cool. So if you're in the dark, it has a very nice button for taking photos. You can change the focus with a little dial, and that's a really nice record button. I don't know if you can see that, which is really cool. So, you know, if you've got it in video mode, you're like, oh crap, and action, off you go, and you know, you've got that really cool and easy to use camera. What I like about it is light, you know, it hangs off you nicely. I went actually with my uncle probably a couple of months ago now, basically out in the mountains, and it was just really nice and light. I could take some great you know, photos and stuff like that. I took a bit of video, but mainly photos, and it was just brilliant. I just didn't have to do anything. I just put it into auto mode, put it into photo mode, and I didn't have to play with any settings. Now, can you? Yes, you can play around with shutter speed, you can play around with lightness, auto correction, whitening, you know, all the things you have, or all the things you may expect if you're a bit more of a more heavy user of photography and video. You want to play around with settings, set up your own customized settings, all that sort of thing, put a timer on it and stuff like that. It's very easy to do all that in a very user-friendly menu, which is nice. And you can turn off the flash. Has a wireless connection, so you can connect wirelessly to a device if you want to copy over your photos and videos and that sort of thing. That's really cool. But I'll tell you what, my favourite feature, I know I've already mentioned this, but if you only joined us, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you're getting value. I'll go have to take this off now again. But I know I've mentioned this already, but I do love the fact that you do have the flip screen. Now, briefly, I want to talk about what I don't like, which I must admit, I find difficult. The only things I don't like about this camera, this is very minor if Canon are watching, is because the flip screen only sort of has almost dropped the camera as it sort of faces outwards. I'm always a little bit worried in case, you know, I like to see myself as someone who's fairly careful with my gear, but I'm always thinking, you know, you could very easily maybe break the screen, where on other cameras you can actually face the screen inwards. It just makes it feel a bit safer. Obviously you can get a case for it, but you're not always going to have the case on. And the only little silly thing I found was to get to the SD card. It feels like you have to pull up the, if you can see that on the ankle, sort of flip up the screen slightly, and then you've got where you put your nails, and then you sort of have to pick. And I always feel I'm going to break it, but that is where the SD card goes. You can put anything in there. I would highly recommend something like an Extreme SD card. I don't know if you can see that. I've only got a 16 gig in there, but you can put as big as you want. You can put 32, 64, 128, whatever. I personally find, unless you can take literally thousands of photos, that 16 or 32 is fine. Why do you want an extreme one? Well, that is a faster processing SD card, and basically it just means it would take high performance video, high performance photography. If you're doing, you know, fast moving photography, moving objects, it would just make it slightly sharper, the quality will higher, and obviously you can capture more photos and videos. It's something just to bear in mind. And, you know, what's the battery life like? It comes very easy at the bottom. It snaps out. I can never get out. You know, I can today. A nice little battery. And what's nice, it has the same battery as goes with the other similar models, like the obviously the M200, the M50. So if you've got multiple cameras, You can just swap around the battery. I would highly recommend, personally, if you're going on a day trip, though I didn't need it actually, because I have this little power tip actually. Every time you're not taking photos, just turn off the camera. I know that might sound obvious, but it's this little power tip that I sometimes forget. But you know, if you're someone that likes to leave the camera on, or I don't know, you may be out for a weekend and for whatever reason you haven't got your charger with you, perhaps just get a second battery and get them both charged just in case. It's just good practice, and it just makes your experience better. But you're getting value, smash the like button, check out our merch. So there's a link in the description if you want value. I'm also wearing one of our t-shirts. Hey, yeah. Absolute value. What am I drinking? Orange juice. So if this is your first time here, I'm Dave from TVR Creators, and this is actually the first live stream I'm doing of our new series that I'm sort of hinting as the Dave Show. I don't know if that will stick or not, but basically every Friday I'm going to do live streams on different cameras, camera reviews, perhaps other equipment, if that's something that you guys want, a sense of tripods and lighting and microphones. But at the moment I'm concentrating cameras because YouTube keeps telling me time and time again that you guys prefer my camera videos. So we're just going to go to the next part of the video. So if you're getting value from this video so far, smash the like button if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, and feel free to share this content with family and friends. I'm just going to have a little think if there's anything I've missed that I love about this camera. I'll tell you what, would I recommend this camera? Yes. If you're going to be if you want blah, 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 blah. If you want photography as your hobby, if you want a first camera for taking really good photos for family events, or if you're a YouTuber or creator, or if you just want something that's separate from your phone, you can take some really good pictures just because it is nice to have a proper camera, I would highly recommend this. Would I recommend this as a creator or filmmaker? As a first camera? Possibly. It takes, because of the lens it comes with and the lenses you can buy up the road, or down the road even, it does film really good video. The only thing I want you guys to bear in mind, if you're a serious YouTuber creator, it doesn't have a microphone jack, which means you can't put an external microphone in it. It does have a nice little microphone, so if you're recording indoors, or you know, if you're just blogging and that sort of thing, you're not too bothered to begin with, then it is perfectly fine. But just bear in mind you might have that wind noise occasionally. But if you want higher quality audio, you would have to record the audio separately, or perhaps get a different camera, so it might not be the camera for you. But as a first camera, it just costs half the price now as what I would recommend as a creator, which would be still the M50 Mark II or the Mark 1. But if you just want a first camera that only costs sort of over £200 or dollars, you can get the second hand for about that now, and that's something to bear in mind. So as a first camera, I would highly recommend the M100. And obviously, if you are somebody that wants, you know, the top of the range, whatever, then obviously you can get the M200, which just comes with a few more features. And at the moment, unless I'm wrong, you can get this in black or white, whatever you prefer. I personally got it in white just to make it different to my M50. And also, I just got a good deal at the time. I can't remember how much it cost me now, but it was a very good deal for the time. And it come with all the cables, and obviously you'll get a power pack and a lead and all the rest of it, unless you get it from a dodgy dealer. So would I recommend this camera? Yes, I would. Go and get yourself the M100. There's links to this and so much more in the description, so go and check it out. I'm trying to think if there's anything I've missed that I don't like about it. We did have a couple of questions, which I think I've actually sort of already answered, but let's just go through them anyway, that I got sent on Insta. Is this worth getting as a creator? I think I pretty much answered that. I would say, you know, again, if you're a blogger or you're just sort of starting out, then yes. But obviously, if you're a serious content creator, you might want to look at something like the M50 personally. But then again, it just costs half the price. So it's down to what we can afford. And there's some great deals on this on eBay. And it does come occasionally new on Amazon. So check it out. It isn't today, but I do notice about once a month it will appear on there, and they just have a couple, obviously, in their store ready to go. Obviously, you've got the marketplace as well, but just be aware of sellers again. And the other question was, how much? Well, I think I've answered that as well. I've seen it today on eBay from good sellers for just over £200, which will be, I don't know, $250. I'm not very good at drawing in the currencies. But obviously, if you want it brand new, it still can go for $300-400. Just bear in mind, I've seen some stupid prices like $900. Don't buy it for that. There's lots of other cameras you can get if you're going to spend over £1,000 on a camera. So just bear that in mind. So I hope that's helpful. Any little power tips? I think I mentioned the thing about the SD card. The battery's easy to get out. Obviously, it's easy to connect a tripod at the bottom. I think that's basically all the stuff you need to know. So anyway, if you've got any questions, feel free to put them in the live chat. If you watch this on the replay, I will be putting links to the videos throughout this video that you may have seen. If you watch this on the replay, there's links to the videos in the description, and you can connect with us on Instagram, YouTube here on YouTube, Twitter, and we have a Facebook community and so much more. If you want to support the channel, check out our merch. And I just want to say Happy New Year to many more videos to come. You guys absolutely rock. So without further ado, I hope you enjoyed this content. Have an absolutely great day. Happy New Year. And for me, Dave, TVR creators, and the Canon M100, which you definitely should get, you guys rock.